Hi guys, and welcome to RCC Adventures. Now today, as seen in the thumbnail, we are reviewing the Rover 25, which is this car here. It is filthy because obviously being winter and trying to find a location, yeah, it's a little bit muddy and a little bit icy actually. I came up that road down there and basically wheel span all the way up the hill. Hopefully you can see because the camera might be a little bit dirty. Bear with me. Hopefully that's better. But anyway, so let's start the review with getting the elephant out of the room. Obviously, Rover 25 use K-Series engines. We all know what happens with K-Series engines after a little while. So I'm hoping in this video that I'm going to persuade you otherwise. And why you should get yourself a Rover 25 or even an MG ZR, which is the equivalent car but as an MG. These are brilliant little cars. I've had one in the past myself, before the channel, so you've never seen it. I had one before, and it had a 1.4 in it, which was a K-Series engine, 16 valve, 105 brake horsepower, plenty of oomph for the size of vehicle. This is a 1.1, very rare car. It's a very rare car actually, because the 1.1 you don't ever see. If you do see them, normally they're locked away, kind of like this one was. And you don't really ever see them come up. As a car is about to try and attempt to come up the hill there. Let's see if we can get him wheel spinning or anything like that. That's 4x4, he'll get out there no easy. Let's just wait for that car to go past. So as I was saying, so this is a 1.1. It's got 74 brake horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 95 brake horsepower, no, not brake horsepower, 95 Newton meters at 5,000 RPM. So not world lighting up power, but you know, it's enough. It gets down the road, it boogies, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let's have a proper look around the car as the sun is glistening. Right, so we'll start at the front here, if I can get the gimbal to play ball. And it's a lovely sort of dark blue. If you are new to the channel, you wouldn't have seen this, but if you are previous to the channel, you've watched my videos before, you would know that we got this out of a garage and it had been there for about 8 years inside in the garage, so it's been pretty much well preserved. So the paintwork is in good nick. There's no real sort of there's no rust whatsoever in it at all. And to be fair, I think these are handsome looking motors. I know there's the other stereotype where they're driven by old people, or the older generation, but a lot of younger people are now starting to own these cars. They're good as little cars to have as a first car. The insurance isn't too bad on them. As we're having a good look around, it is quite dirty. It is being used. Since we had it MOT'd, it did sit around for a little while, but it's been used quite a bit recently, sort of as an everyday vehicle. So it's getting its use. And yeah, it's a good looking motor. Now if you don't know, this is a big thing as well. Obviously B&W owned Rover, up to the end, and the basis of this became the 1 Series. Originally they were going to carry it on, they were going to carry Rover on, and there was a concept called the R35, which is basically the up version to this, the next generation to it. Obviously you had the facelifts, this is being an early example with the quad headlights, but then you had from 54 plates, so 05-ish, they went to single headlights with the bigger grills and the different tailgate. Mainly all that changed. Some of the plastics inside did change as well, they got a bit cheaper. But this one, plastics are good, it's comfortable seating, and we'll have a look in the interior in a minute. The car I had, which was an 04 plate, looked exactly the same, apart from the seats were slightly harder. They were different for some reason, some weird reason. But yeah, so let's have a quick look inside. We'll start from the back, because obviously my height, the driver's seat is in my position, so we'll sit behind me. At my height, I'm just shy of 6 foot. If you're over 6 feet, you might have a little bit of an issue, but don't forget it is quite a small car. Think of the size of the 1 Series, it's not huge, is it? Right, so let's sit in the back. So look at this material in here as well. It's not soft, but it's not also really firm. Let's get in. I hope you can see me, the glare from the sun's quite big. You can see, getting in the back, for me, is a bit of a challenge. And that's kind of where the 1 Series BMW comes in, because it's got a similar aperture, like door aperture, as the Rover. You see, if I put my legs like this is in my position, my knees are touching the driver's seat. And I've got a little bit of headroom, not too bad. But I've sat in the back here, it's not too bad. It is just a conventional bench seat, so it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. But I tend to sort of spray my legs, because I'm a man, that's what we do. But it's not too bad. Right, so let's, if I can, with my long legs, get back out of the car. We'll look at the size of the boot, because that's where I think... I'll shut the door properly. Let's unlock the car first. I locked it, didn't I, when I got in. There we go, that's better. So this is where I think the Rover and the BMW differ. I don't know if you're actually looking at me, the gimbal's kind of doing its own thing. But the Rover boot, I think, is actually bigger. And it's a decent sized boot for the size of the vehicle compared to its competitors of the time, and basically now. You think of it, Volkswagen Polo, about the same size car now. I don't think the boot is as big. Let's have a look inside, shall we? Inside the boot. So it's a decent size, you've got sort of full size chairs there. Oh, nearly had an accident. Sure I didn't get that on camera. That would have been quite entertaining. I think the car that has just went past cacked themselves, because they're now going up there really slowly. Anyway, back to the video. Those are full size camping chairs, and they fit in perfect size. You don't have any like pockets or anything on the sides or anything like that, but you do have a decent sized boot. Now the drop down, why are you doing that? Oh, back to me, there we go. So the drop down inside the boot is quite deep, so you can fit quite a lot of stuff in, but then again you might end up having to lift it up quite high. Let's go and have a look inside the car from the driver's seat. Right, so let's get into the driver's seat. We'll have a look at the engine bay as well in a minute. Let's get in the driver's seat. Me being in my height can be a bit of a challenge going into these cars, but you do have plenty of adjustment. You have up and down, and obviously back and forth, and you can tilt a bit as well. So you've got plenty of adjustment, and don't forget this is from 2001. So having all of the adjustment, like the adjustment of the bolsters, the way it massages you and all that sort of thing, didn't really come out in these kind of cars before, anywhere in this time. It was sort of, this was too old for that kind of thing. And plus, being a lower spec car, being a small hatchback, it's not necessarily going to have it on there. That's the kind of things that at the time you would have had in your Mercedes S-classes. So let's show what it's like getting in, and we'll go from there. As I hit the camera on the door frame. So it is a bit of a challenge, but you can adjust the seat up and down. See, steering wheel. You can adjust the steering wheel up and down. Is it at its highest thing? No, it's not. So we'll put it there. It'll make my life a lot easier of getting in and out. So there is adjustment. It doesn't come back and forth towards you. Can't remember what that's called right now. But you can do the up and down. My only sort of real grumble with the seating position in this car, which, to be fair, it's comfortable. It is properly comfortable in here. Is for the fact I've got nowhere to put my left foot. There's no foot plate. What do you call it? I can't think what you call it right now. But there is footrest. That's it, footrest. So there's no footrest to put your foot. So you end up sort of putting your leg at a weird angle, but it's not too bad. It's plenty comfortable. So I'll show you what we've got in the interior. So you've got the headlight adjustment there, with just your stalk there for your wipers, which work very well. There's no radio controls or anything on the steering wheel, but I did have that on my 04 plate. You've got the clock up the top there, a nice bit of wood trim, a little tray there with your glove box, and then your heater controls there with a nice bit of a wood surround as well. Heater works extremely well in this car. I like it a lot. And then your hazards, your fog lights, and your rear mist, which again work really, really well. And your cassette player down there, ashtray, 12 volt, and then obviously your gear stick there. One thing I found with, not necessarily this car, because it's got a good position in this car. If I can get the gimbal to come back round to me. There's a good position in this car. Come back, there we go. Hello, I'm back to seeing you. The gear stick in this is a little bit longer, so it's actually closer to your leg, and it's at a good height, so you're not sort of having to reach down. I found that with my 04 plate, they seem to shorten the gear stick. But it's not too bad in here. It's nice and comfortable. Right, let's have a look at the engine bay. Don't think you want to look in the glove box. It's just a glove box. There's nothing special in there, apart from paperwork to do with the vehicle. But you do get a lovely sunroof, which, look at the key out. Hopefully the gimbal will play ball and you can stay there for a minute. Don't worry, you're not going to be on the gimbal and on the move. Come on, in you go. There we go. So you get the up. Oh, button. It is a little bit slow. I'm not going to keep going. But the one thing I've noticed with this particular car is the sunroof hasn't rotted out. There is no rust in it whatsoever, which is amazing, really. These age of vehicles, not necessarily Rovers, but age of vehicles, if they have a sunroof, they do suffer with rust and they leak. This one does leak a little bit, but we need a new seal. That's it. Everything else works perfectly well. Let's close that again. So yeah, let's have a look at the engine bay and go from there. What you got to think with this car, and Rovers in general from this age or slightly older or slightly newer, is that they're basically just a base model car with a few tricks and toys here and there, especially if you've got the Streetwise. That had a few more toys in it. And also with these particular cars, this particular engine, is that this engine took over from the Rover 100. So this in the Rover 100, it was an 8 valve. In this, obviously 16 valves, so they updated it a bit more. The Rover 25 took over from the Rover 200. Remember them? That's where you got the BRM and the GTI. But then they stopped doing any sort of specials. But they're a nice car. They are a nice car. And I'm hoping, as I said at the beginning of this video, that this is a video that makes you change your mind. Change your mind about Rover in general. Because you get some good ones. You do get some goodies. It's like examples. Rover 200 Tomcat. Brilliant car. Absolutely fantastic. The Rover 200 BRM. Again, a brilliant car. The GTI. Brilliant car. Rover 800 Sterling. Again, a beautiful car. Rover 75 Connoisseur. A beautiful car. Not necessarily what people would go out for. They would tend to go for a BMW, Mercedes, or an Audi or something like that. But it's a little bit more left field. And it drives perfectly, drives beautifully, and it does exactly what you want it to do. It's exactly the same with this. It does exactly what you want it to do. Anyway, I'm rambling enough about the car. Let's go and have a look at the engine bay, then we'll go for a drive. Now, if you are clicking on this review, I like to think myself as a more of an honest reviewer. A more honest YouTuber. I'm not trying to do any sort of tricks or anything like that with the YouTube. It's more kind of raw. So if I stumble and stuff like that, bear with me. That's kind of my way of doing things. But let's have a look at the engine and see if you can see any similarities. Obviously, I did say it is a K-Series engine. It's only a 1.1, but I bet you can't tell the difference. Oh, hello. There we go, it's back to normal. So yeah, I'm still trying to get used to the gimbal, but anyway, we progress and digress. So here is the 1.1 K-Series 16 valve. And can you really tell any difference between the 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, 2 litre and all them? No, you can't. It even has a 4-branch manifold. I mean, the only true difference, I need to read more into this gimbal, but anyway, the only difference really is the size of the pistons and the balls. That's it. And I did say it's got 75 brake horsepower and it's got 95 newton meters of torque, which you do notice a difference. Sorry, I'm just waiting to see if there's a car that's going to spin out down there. It's ice. But yeah, you do notice a difference, with it being 75 brake horsepower. You have to give it a bit more. But K-Series, they love to rev. That's probably why the head gasket's good. Anyway, we again digress. So let's get you set up and we'll go for a drive. Right, hopefully you can hear me quite well. I'm having to change to the old iPhone lav mic, because the mic that I was using outside doesn't like being driven about. It has a hissy fit. Don't know why. Sound goes and everything. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you don't move around too much. You shouldn't do. You're my my special suction cup review mount. Let's go with that. Right, so. Oh yeah. Let that K-Series purr. Safety first. Now you see, I didn't put my seatbelt on before I started the engine in case there was issues. You know, being a car, these things do happen. Now I can see the cable getting rather annoying, but you have to bear with me. Go for a drive, shall we? See how this little 1.1 is capable of. Use English right. You know, a language that God gave you. Well, he didn't give it to me, did it? My parents in school taught me how to speak and what to say, which is English. Don't really know any other languages, unfortunately. I would like to learn some. Right, so this is pure ice where I am right now. Pulling up there in third gear. We are going up a hill as well. 1500 RPM. Pulling up there. No problem whatsoever. Oh, I'm going to have to come to a stop as a successor of this vehicle is going past. Oh, a little bit of axle tramp there. So that was a 1 Series that went past the other way. It's obviously being the successor to this. Not many people know that. You are moving about a little bit. I'm sorry for that. This is where the power doesn't really perform to its best. But at the same time, being a 1.1, are you really expecting it to be a powerhouse? I very much doubt it. If you are, then you're clearly looking in the wrong area. But the main thing with these beautiful little cars, which for once I'm actually comfortable. Not many cars of this size I actually get quite comfortable with. Ron's an exception, because Ron's tiny, but he has stupid amounts of space, and you can adjust the seat to basically being outside the vehicle. I can see why the older generation, why they like these cars. Because the steering's nice, it's not light, it's not like some of the more modern electric power steering racks, because this is a hydraulic rack, but it has power steering. It's nice, it's crisp, it's got a good sized steering wheel, it's nice and chunky. The seating position's nice, you've got plenty of adjustment there, which is on a windy dial, weirdly, instead of the old pump action. And you've got plenty of adjustment in the seats, as I said, plenty of room. And in the older generation, they don't tend to necessarily have passengers in the back. It's not an issue. It's a great city car, you can go to the shops in it. Shopping trolley, as they used to be called. It's got plenty of power to get you up and down roads. Gearbox is nice, clutch is nice and easy, the brakes are good. Handling, now that's one thing that is never really spoken about when it comes to Rover 25s, is the handling. The handling on one of these cars with completely standard suspension is superb. It really is. I can't think of any cars that this would compete against. Obviously, BMW 1 Series wasn't around at the time. That this would have competed against, like the Volkswagen Polo, the Lupo, kind of, Fiat Punto and all that sort of thing. Not many of them really had the handling capability that this has got. It's got anti-roll bars front and rear, standard McPherson struts. But you would kind of believe that it was a little bit on the sporty side. But, and there's a big but, the ride isn't compromised for that. See, bit of a bump, not terrible. Obviously, if you hit some big bumps at some decent speed, it's going to hurt. But that would hurt in any vehicle, really. Like if you got air, that would hurt. Generally, you're not going to have an issue. You're really not going to have an issue with the handling of this car. It will get you out of any situation that you need it to. And we're currently in 5th gear, going along on a 50-mile-an-hour road, and going up a slight hill. No real dramas. No real dramas. Now, visibility in this car is okay. It's not terrible. It's not brilliant. It's not like the best out there, but it's not bad. You've got a big, nice, big windscreen. The A-pillars are not too bad of size. They are a bit on the chunkier side, but safety. You can see around it quite easily. The door mirrors, they're good size. You can see plenty through them. The rear view mirror, again, is a good size. The rear window, it's slightly concaved, so it's got a curve to it, but you can see out of it nice and easily. If you looked over your shoulder, the C-pillars, they are on the bigger side, so that is where it is slightly compromised. It's not bad. you don't struggle, really. Not really at all. Now, if you are new to the channel, hi, welcome to it. I'm glad you have clicked on my video and you are partaking in my videoing experience. Then if you could please subscribe, hit that bell, give this video a like, and if you're really enjoying it, give us a comment. Any feedback on how we do is really appreciated. This is the kind of things that we do most of the time. We do reviews, we work on cars, we fix cars, we modify cars at times. We'd like to modify cars a little bit more, but you know, we're going through a fleet rearrange at the moment. New year, new things. What a plum! That pillock didn't know how to drive there. So, what we're going to do in a minute, if I can find a decent road, which is debatable. Right, let's drop it in a second. Currently doing 30 miles an hour. Let's see how quickly it can get to 50. There you go, it's 50. Got to 50 in one gear. You would think it actually isn't that bad, you know. It isn't. It really isn't. Right, what way should I go? Because I know there was issues going into Wickham beforehand. There was a little bit of road works. Let's go left. What are we going to do a 0 to 60? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Yeah, 13 seconds, not to 60. Get in there. But that is in slippery conditions. There was a little bit of axle trampage. Smidge. I'm trying to come up with excuses. But, you know. It's a 1.1. What do you expect? It's not the fastest thing in the world. It's only got 75. Can't miss off that one. And it's only got 75 brake horsepower. Turning circle. Excellent. I think the turning circle on this is about 9.5 to 10 metres. I could be wrong. I might be reading something completely different. It's not as good as Ron, but Ron is like, well, I wouldn't even say a third of the size. In hatchback world, this is, I would say, in proportions about the same size as a Mark IV Golf. Or even a Mark V. So, it's a decent sized hatchback. It's not terrible. And would I have one of those over one of these? I do have one of those. I do have a Golf. And I've had one of these. Would I have one of these over its competitors? Certainly handles better than its competitors. If you think about a Mark IV Golf, standard Mark IV Golf, let's say, I don't know, the 1.4, because that's the lowest spec possible, which the car, that Golf, is a heavier vehicle. I would say this would outperform it. Definitely do better in the handling sector. Yeah. So I hope, guys, I really do, because these Rover 25s, they need to be saved, really. They're becoming classic. And obviously, Rover went away. They ceased to exist. But then a Chinese company brought them back, and yes, I know, the MG name is in the UK. But the name Rover still does exist. It's not pronounced Rover. It's roadway. Which in China, any MG vehicles that we have over here, over there, are roadways, or Rover. and you know, they're being sold like hotcakes. The old MGs, MG5s, 3s, not necessarily a 3 anymore. They sort of stopped production on those. We've got the new MG5 that's coming out now, new facelift one. That's a very good looking motor and is an estate car that is fully electric. No one else is doing that. The ZS, sort of an SUV thing. I'm not keen on SUVs, if you know. Are they still doing the GS? I don't think they are doing the GS anymore, which was the slightly bigger one. But they do a HS, again electric. But yeah, I think you could get a petrol version, a petrol version. And yeah, MG is going strong today, and it effectively is exactly the same company as it used to be as Rover and MG back in the day. So they're using the same factory, I believe. Don't quote me on that one, guys, but I believe it's basically the same company. So the name still exists. So why are we dissing? I think that's a very good word, actually. Dissing Rover. What have they done wrong for you guys not to like them? Forgetting the K-Series issue, because BMW have issues with their engines, Mercedes have issues with their engines, and to be fair, head gaskets. Pretty much every car out there has an issue with a head gasket at some point. The Rovers do tend to have more than one, but if you find it and you fix it, where's the harm? Where is the harm? It's not a hard job to do. It's an easy job. I've done quite a few of them, not necessarily on K-Series engines. In fact, I haven't done any on a K-Series engine. I've done head gaskets on other engines, like Renaults. Plenty of head gaskets on Renaults, and yet you don't hear them, do you? I know it's beginning to turn into a rant, but my point is, K-Series engines and their head gaskets is not as bad as everybody makes out. They're not. There's more K-Series engines out there still. Rover 25s have not gone, have they? They're not a rare car. You see them a lot still. I'll tell you one head gasket I've had to change. Nissan Micra, there you go. Japanese engineering, supposed to be reliable, and I've had to change the head gasket on it. You know, Rovers are not as bad as people make out. And they drive brilliantly, they're comfortable, plenty of space, and you could use them as an everyday car, as a family car. But yeah, I know this review's kind of turned into a rant, but I really do hope that this video sort of inspires you to stop following the negativity about Rover and MG. There's no need. They are a really good car. They're an enthusiast's car now. They really are. It's like we've got the MGF. We've got this at the moment. We inspire to drive K-Series engines of any sort. Lotus used to use them. Caterham used to use them in their Lotus and Caterham 7s. They're in pretty much everything if you look back in history. Like the Rover V8 used to be. Clearly Rover was doing something good with their engines. And these engines are constantly being raced as well. Alright, 1.8s mainly. You don't necessarily see a 1.4 or 1.6 or a 1.1 as race engines, but they are raced. And there is a way around the head gasket issue, which the racing people do, which is they fit a new head gasket, they run the engine up until it's red hot without any coolant in it, which seals it, then they put coolant in. Solves your issues. You never have a head gasket issue again. But anyway, I am digressing. I am waffling on as per usual, and you can see that this car drives absolutely lovely. And being the earlier model, 25, it's got a longer gear stick, which is nice and comfortable for me. The seats are more soft compared to what I used to have. It's just when BMW really sort of got their things around their what's-its. That's seats start getting firmer, and it's like modern cars these days, seats are firm. Why? People haven't got soft, or have they? I don't know. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the Rover 25 or 1.1, as we're about to drive into somebody else's head gasket issue. Major amounts of cloud up ahead, and that's from a car, not Mother Nature. There you go. Fog of a car kind. Yep, that's somebody's head gasket's gone, and it ain't me. Anyway, please like, subscribe, and give this video a comment, and we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Cheers.